Now that I've done a lot of upgrades and general fixing to my mill, we're going to start working on some gears. If you look at the general plan, there's a lot of gears, but specifically we're going to be going for this 16-tooth pinion here, which is spread everywhere, all around the central wheels, all around in the store, and there's some in our gear train too. So if you actually look at that part, here's what it looks like. We got 16 teeth. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick, and it has bevels on the top and bottom side. So we need to mill the front and the back. These gears will be moving vertically and then meshing so they can turn together. If you don't have a bevel, like these ones, you can see they're perfectly flat. When they're not quite aligned and they move vertically, they get stuck and everything jams. So these ones, they have the bevel on them on the top and the bottom, so that when one is coming up and it's not quite aligned, it's a little ramp and they slide and mesh together correctly. We're going to start by milling out the bottom, which is going to be this side. And if we simulate this, show some stock, remove the part. First we're going to make it flat, and then we're going to make the gear profile, and then drill some holes, and then make those bevels along the edges so there's no sharp corners. And then we flip the part over and screw it down and do this side, which is, again, make it flat. And we only need to do the bevels on this side since we've already drilled all the way through from the other side. Here's one I did earlier, halfway did. So I start with one block, mill out one side, flip it over, mill out the other side. You can see the simulation starts with a square block, but this time I got a round bar. So I need to make some changes to my program first. So let's see how it works. First, we need to cut the stock down to the correct size on the bandsaw. I'm going to call that a success. I got two things that look like gears. They're pretty good. My high school teacher would give me a C- because I could do a lot better than this. So if we look at them, they're the right shape. Some of the teeth are a little bit off because I didn't get it centered in my stock. I had a little bit of trouble aligning it when I did the front, and then I flipped it over to do the back. So one of the holes is off center on one of them. The biggest problem is I think I need to adjust my mill more, because if I measure it this way, it's not the same size as that way. So my X and Y axis aren't quite right. I also need to make sure that center hole is very accurately drilled, because there's a bushing that gets pushed in, and then that's what goes on the axle and spins. So if it's too small, then it doesn't spin right, because it also needs to slide on that axle. And if it's too big, then the bushing will just get pushed out while the machine is running, and that would be a big mess. I also want to try making all these holes with a drill instead of having to mill them out in that spiral that you saw. Not sure I can do that with the center hole. Might be too big for my motor. So this week I'll be making more of these, trying to get it better, and then move on to some other parts.